All right, finna go ahead and get it started. Wait for this to load up real quick. Wait for this to load up. All right. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ podcast. For today's episode 191, we're going to be discussing an interesting topic. A topic that me and Anthony have been thinking about for a minute now, but we decided to go ahead and do it. This is good people must criticize others' bad behavior. This is going to be something that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about enough nowadays. I've heard a few people talk about it, but it's definitely not something that's particularly popular within today's society. So we'll definitely have fun talking about that today. If you are new, make sure to leave a like and go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitch, TikTok, and on Rumble at Life of a Champ podcast on every single platform. For the people that do not know you, Anthony, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
What's up? Anthony, I'm back. If you haven't seen me on here right now, then you a little late to catch on. But number one Kool-Aid American around, Anthony. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that one on the spot. So don't criticize me about it later. Don't.
Hi, Nani. Okay. All right, getting into it. Like I said, if you want to go ahead and if you have any questions or comments regarding today's episode, leave it in the comments. Whether you're watching this right now or watching it after the fact, definitely let us know for sure. So getting into it, like I said, you must criticize others people's bad behavior, right? And I'd say more in particularly good people go ahead and do this. There are certain people, which we'll get into later on in the podcast, that maybe will avoid themselves from going ahead and doing this. But quite frankly, I do believe it is going to be something that is absolutely necessary. So obviously, I want to kind of give you more of like a broader sense, right? Like I'm going to give you my perspective, Anthony. I want you to go and give me your perspective as well. But I feel like a lot of people nowadays, especially the way that society is built, it is like a bad notion to criticize other people's bad behaviors, and you see a lot more people being accepting of all, and accepting of new ideas, and accepting of, like I had mentioned, bad behaviors. What do you think about that?
Yeah, man. The problem is, right, you can't accept all of that, right? You should not accept all this negativity, right? They think it's positive, right? Being accepting is a good thing, like it's healthy, but it's not healthy. That's the problem, right? They're progressively worsening society by making everyone softer to these things. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Let's see. I got some examples, but they're for later on in the pod. I found for specific
Okay.
topics, but like, I mean, you can't just say everything's acceptable, right? Because obviously there's rules for a reason, there's traditions for a reason, right? All of it. That's why we criticize, not to bring people down, but to lift them up. But they're not. It's not seen as that anymore. Everything is just seen as criticizing is all negative now. So it's accept everyone for everything when that was never the case, and it never should have been the case.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I would say yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing. Like I like how you mentioned like the tradition thing, right? A lot of people they kind of shun that type of notion. Oh, that's an old way of thinking. Criticizing other people's behaviors is a thing of the past. Everyone should just be able to do exactly what they want to do, and of course, to an extent, I'd say that is true, right? And that is one thing that I want to mention as well is I can kind of see the perspective when people say like, oh, like what things need to change over time. Of course things need to evolve, things need to change, and I could agree to that to an extent, right? But I do believe that there are fundamental things that quite frankly are good behaviors and definitely are objectively bad behaviors.
Yes.
And I do believe that with the notion of not criticizing other people's or not criticizing others or being voidant of this, they begin to conflate the two in thinking that this is simply just behaviors of people, when in reality, like I said, there are simply bad behaviors and there are simply good behaviors. And I do believe that, like you had mentioned, right? You must be able to try to criticize. You must be able to criticize people's bad behaviors, especially the people who are you're close to most, right? For sure.
Hmm.
And the way that I look at it is this, right? First of all, if I personally criticize you, that means I love you the most, quite frankly, right?
Yep.
I'm not going to criticize anybody's bad behavior unless it's like, of course, during the podcast where I'm really going after everybody, headshots for everybody. But
Oh
I'm
yeah.
really not going to criticize people's bad behaviors personally unless I really, really love you and I want to see you get better at something, right? Um, and at times, this is personally how I feel, right? I love people more than they love themselves, right? I only want to suggest things that would be in favor of their life, within their best interest, and by that, I would also be rejecting of the things that contribute to a dystopian version of who they are, right? And this is something that I would say, like I said, some people take it good, some people take it bad, but obviously, with anything, with any criticism that you receive from somebody, you must evaluate the intentions behind that person, right? Does this person have the best intentions in mind for me in my life? And of course, some people, and I would say a lot of people, they can kind of get blinded by the upfront criticism, right? And I do believe partially of that is they're not really critical on themselves,
Mhm.
which would allow them to be more accepting of criticism of others. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, man. People they automatically they get defensive, right?
Okay.
They hear negative words and they don't think, oh, they're trying to help me. They think, well, like why would they think that way? Why would they tear me down like this, right? They don't think maybe what they're saying is intended with the right purpose. It's not going to be said in a loving way because people who encourage who are or better yet project the bad behaviors, right? Those are the ones who are going to give it to you softly, right? The ones who criticize you, right? The ones who actually love you, they're not going to give it to you soft. They're going to give it to you straight up, right? The what you need to hear, right? These are the things that you need to hear to improve yourself. So, yeah, man.
Yeah,
Right.
I would definitely agree, man. I would definitely agree. And like I said, there's certain people, I've definitely given my fair share of harsh criticism to people, and like I said, they just maybe it didn't exactly bode well for them, right? That maybe they seen it as a challenge, and maybe they were not fit for. Maybe they didn't perceive themselves to be fit for the challenge, so therefore they definitely viewed it as a negative thing. But then I've also have criticized other people's bad behaviors, and they've taken it as a worthy challenge of saying, okay, I can be better than this. This person views me as potentially being more than what I am right now.
Mhm.
Right. As of recently, I've criticized Anthony's and his behaviors more than I've ever have, and I know you probably have been feeling that recently,
Oh, for
Anthony.
damn sure. I was actually just about to say that, man. You've been pushing me in this last month and a half, 2 months.
Probably about.
It's been a minute. Yeah, he been on my head top. I'm trying to work on it. It's taking me some
You
time.
trying or you doing?
See that? Yeah. All right. I am. All right. I am.
Okay.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it at the moment. I'm currently working on it.
Fair enough.
I will get better. You just wait. You just watch.
All right.
All
I'm
right.
watching, man. I'm watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's little things like that, all right. I feel like if you're not constantly pushing, especially your friends, more specifically, right? More specifically, if you're not pushing your friends, if you're not challenging them, if you're not saying, "Hey, this is good for you," keep doing that, man. Anytime Anthony does anything good, I'm gonna only give him positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
I'm only going to say, "Anthony, good job. You did a great job. Keep doing more of that, right?" And obviously, when he's doing things that I know and he knows that he probably shouldn't be doing, or maybe there's something better that he could be doing, I'm gonna say, "Anthony, come on, G, what the fuck you doing?" Because I have to.
Every single time he says it just like that. Anthony, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? You better than that. What the fuck are you doing?
Simple as
Yeah.
that, man. But like I said, I feel like a lot of people they need more of those people in their lives, right? I feel like I said, there's people that can view it as negative, but I feel more people they need more of those type of people in their lives that actually give a fuck enough to say something. And at the point where I don't necessarily care about, this is gonna sound a little bit unempathetic, but I don't necessarily care about the way that you react to it. More more of the action that can be changed in order for you to go ahead and develop into the best you can be, right? So it is definitely a little bit more of a less emotional approach to it, but at the same time it's like sometimes that's what people need and they don't know that they need that.
Mhm.
And realistically speaking, right, I could just say nothing at all, and that's me not really giving a fuck, right? If I ever get to the point with you where I'm criticizing you and I want you to be better personally, right? And then I just stop altogether, just know I don't give a fuck anymore about you and your progress and your potential. I'm leaving it solely up to you. If you want to handle it, that's completely fine. If you don't want to handle it, that's completely fine.
Yeah.
But like I said, for me, I care too much. Like I said, I love people too much to let them be less than what I know they could be. That's for sure.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? People don't understand that tough love, for better or worse, right, it's the best love. Yeah, it's the most effective, right? People don't always see it that way though. It's because they just think you're like, well, They're trying to tear they well, I was like I said before, you like they think you're trying to tear you down, but no. Here's the thing: if I was trying to tear you down, I'd leave you to your own devices. I'd let you stay at the state you're in right now. I'd say, you know what, what you're doing, you're fine. Go ahead, do whatever the fuck you want. No, I'm telling you what the fuck you need to hear so that you will take the proper steps to get better at these things. Yeah.
100%. That's exactly what
Yep.
it is. Like you mentioned, the tough love. The tough love is something that, like I said, not a lot of people get. So when they do receive it, they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck?"
That's because,
And this is supposed to come from the father, right? A lot of people are missing their fathers. Maybe their father isn't as active as they could be,
yeah.
and that's part of the reason right there. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just about to say that's one of the old traditions, right? It's tough love is the old just tradition, right? People were used to be more accepting of it as opposed to now. It's one of the things that society has definitely toned down on, and then they took the exact opposite route, which was a huge fucking mistake.
Why would you say why would you say it's a huge mistake, Anthony?
Because it's making everybody soft. Everybody thinks everyone should be accepting of everything, right? When you accept everything and you reject nothing, you stand for nothing. So,
Okay.
and that being right, you can't I don't know. You basically turn into a fucking robot, right?
Okay.
And when you do that, you're like nobody. You no mind, right? No mental, no thoughts of your own, right? You're not your own person anymore, right? People who will criticize you, right? They want to pull you out of that, right? They want you to be your own person. They want you to be the best person that you can be, your own person, right? Your own personality, your own characteristics, all of that, right? But when you just tell people that it's fine just the way they are, all that, it's like you really don't care, honestly. You really don't care. You can't care.
Yeah. Like you for damn sure can't care.
You,
I'm gonna read some of these comments quick. Do you have anything you want to say?
oh no, go ahead.
All right. Criticism is simply making a person aware of areas that they need growth that they weren't able to make themselves aware of. Criticism isn't bad. People just don't know how to take accountability or accept that they aren't perfect. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for sure. Like, and I would say, like I said, this kind of goes in many different aspects of life, right? Like I said, I can see criticism being in the front of the friend aspect, right? That's gonna be an element for sure, right? And like I said, that's supposed to be partially of the father, like I had mentioned, that tough love that Anthony was saying. Your father's supposed to say, like I said, this wasn't the way that I was raised, right?
Yeah.
So I had to honestly do this for myself, which I'll get into later. But essentially, your father's supposed to give you that criticism, that tough love to say, hey, you could be more than you are. You need to get up. You need to go ahead and fight back. You need to progress past your hard times, right?
Yeah.
That's essentially what he's saying. That's essentially what he's supposed to be saying, right? At
Yeah.
least. And with that being said, like I said, if you lack that initially, you getting that from anybody in any source at all, whether it's the internet, whether it's somebody close to you, whether it's a friend, whether it's a spouse, it's gonna seem like this person's the biggest asshole in history. When in reality, like Jaden had mentioned, they're just trying to get you to potentially be something. They're trying to make you aware of something that you might not have been aware of in the beginning, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like it's not wrong to it's something that needs to be brought back, right? To encourage people to take accountability for their action, what's wrong with them, right? Like if they're overweight and you tell them, "Hey, you're a fat ass, you need to get in the fucking gym," right? Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's gonna sound like an asshole thing to do. But here's the thing: if you don't take it as why would you be so rude to me, and take it as, you know what, you got a point, I'm getting in the fucking gym, you do that, right? Or it doesn't even have to be the gym. Maybe it's finances, right? Like, hey man, you're spending too much money on shit that you don't need, right? You can focus that on, put it into savings or put it into something that's gonna get a nice return, right? Make you more money, right?
Yep.
And then they could either take it as, hey man, I do whatever the fuck I want with my money, right? Or they could take that as, you know what, you make a good point. I can make it more than this, right? I don't have to waste my money on things that don't matter, right?
100%.
It's something that's not seen enough,
I would agree.
for damn sure. And man, here's the thing: the only problem is, right, and is that people are too. It's because they get comfortable. They're getting comfortable with hearing everything they want to hear.
Mm.
So they're not looking for what they don't want to hear, right? And what they don't want to hear is what they need to hear.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Keep going, keep
Yeah.
going, keep going, Azra.
that was the end of that point, man. But it's what it is, man.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And then I want to kind of get back on this, right? Like I said, the criticism of the friend, right? Like I said, you must have friends that are going to criticize your bad behaviors, right? And like I said, another aspect that I want to kind of mention that I've kind of observed, and I don't necessarily, like I said, I'm not gonna say it's the best approach, right? There's gonna be better ways of, I would say, verbalizing it. But essentially, like I said, criticism within your relationship as well. A woman would do this to a man differently than a man would do this to a woman, right? I would definitely say, but essentially, like I said, from the man's perspective, right? If a man just cares, if he criticizes you, he cares. If he doesn't criticize you at all, he does not care for you at all. He's gonna be much harder on the woman that he actually gives a shit about, as opposed to the woman where he doesn't really care about. He's really not gonna be as hard because, quite frankly, he just doesn't care as much, right? Women see this as a lot of women could see this as controlling, right? Like I said, there's a lot of different of these buzz terms that people can spew out when it comes to these certain things. But like at the end of the day, this is just the way that a man expresses love. He expresses love by making restrictions, right? Because that is why he cares. He's going to be critical of you when you do things that are not in the best interest for you or the best interest for you too, right? That would, like I said, to me personally, that makes sense. Anthony, what do you think about that?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Here's the thing: if he didn't believe it was what was in your best interest and to be in you guys' best interest together as a couple, right? It wouldn't be brought up in the first place, right? If he leaves you to do right just whatever you want, whenever you want, he's more than likely he has no intention of sticking around for a very long term. Realistically, I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
I would agree. And on top of that, right, when it comes down to it, I see a lot of women, if their man tries to get in any of these ways, add restrictions and add things that are supposed to be within her best interest, they're kind of very very resistant to it. But at the end of the day, if you choose a man, right, I don't kind of get enough on the tangent, right? But if you choose a man,
Mhm.
you should believe that that man has the best interest in mind for you, and you should honestly, to an extent, blindly trust him and the way that he leads if you have chosen him to be a good enough leader for you to give your body to give your mind to. Period.
Yeah, for damn sure. Because
So
here's the thing: because if if you don't, then you chose the wrong guy. If you don't trust him like that, then you chose the wrong guy.
yeah, then like I said, what the fuck you doing with the guy that you got? You could be having a better motherfucker, but here's the thing: instead, you're out here basically having trust issues on the man that you chose. You look like an idiot. You just look like an idiot. Period. That's just what it is. That's being as real as you need to be, man. That's just an
Headshots.
idiot move. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. All right.
All right.
Appreciate your comments. Like I said, if you have any more comments or questions regarding today's episode, let me go ahead and let me know in the comments. Whether you're on Twitch or on YouTube, let me know for sure.
Mm.
All right, we're gonna get into another aspect of it.
All right. So the next one we got here. What?
All right.
What?
Getting into the next one.
All right. So understandably, right? People's judgments influence their behaviors, right?
Okay.
So people who are poorly judged, right? They obviously they have poor behavior, right? So that being said, right? Um, with better judgment, right, comes obviously better behavior, but it's choosing which judgment is the right judgment, right? And
Okay.
you have to choose that for yourself.
Okay.
Um, like a poor judge of character. Let's say, mm, what's a good example? Because I already used two of them. But actually, no, what? I'll say it like this, right? I'll go back to it. I said it once, but I'll say it again. Someone says, right, you're fat, you need to get in the gym, right?
Sure.
You say, fuck off, right? Well, here's the thing. That doesn't mean they're trying in any way, shape, or form to say you're not what's it called you're not capable of these things, right? They're telling you, hey, I'm trying to help you out here, man. Yo, you need to get in the gym. As a matter of fact, I'll come with you. How about that, right? Or as opposed to someone saying, nah, you're doing great, man. Love your body, right? All power to you. Feel free to die at 29.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
That's damn near what they're saying,
Without verbalizing it.
without verbalizing it,
For
right?
sure.
And that kind of what's it called judgment is just it's poor judgment, right? People they're damn near leading you to death, leading you to an early grave
Without really saying
without
anything.
really saying it, or leading you to a meaningless life, right?
Pretty much.
A life less than fulfillment.
I would
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, and I want to kind of like jump on that point as well with you, right? Like I had mentioned, like we had mentioned, right? The social judgments of others can beneficially influence their behaviors or any person's behaviors, right? Like you said, the absence of this leaves you to your own devices, and if your own devices aren't fully calibrated, right, aren't value structured, right, then you're pretty much cooked from there, right? Um, so like I said, Anthony's example was perfect, right? If you are a person that is overweight and you have nobody criticizing or having or applying their judgment onto you, like he had mentioned, if they're withholding or not, or like I said, if you either don't have people or they're withholding saying anything that is rejecting that negative way of being, they're simply just like I said, leaving you to your own devices. And if they're like I said, if you're more than okay with it, then I guess they're okay with that for sure. But if you have people, like I said, this judgment, right? This healthy level of judgment, this is gonna steer you clear of these pitfalls that you don't necessarily need to go through, right? Or you're gonna be able to get yourself out of. But without that criticism, without that judgment, there's gonna be nothing done.
Yep.
And like I said, for me personally, I like to get better. If you like to get better, then like I said, you should be welcoming these judgments, and more importantly, not only from other people around, but more importantly, judging yourself more. You need to, if you're doing something wrong, and this is something that I really haven't heard really a lot of people say, but this is something that I always stick by. Right? You need to have guilt in your life. There needs to be a certain level of guilt you have when you aren't making decisions that you know are the best for you in your life in your future, right?
Mm.
So with that being said, that is that judgment, that is that guilt, that is that criticism from within. You need to have this, and I do believe that there's a lot of people that do not have this instilled enough, right? If you look at their actions, you look at their behaviors, they have toned this voice so quiet, it's on volume zero, when in reality it needs to be on volume like over 100, simply to get them back on track. But in reality, they've just fallen off so far that the voice that's supposed to be helping them, that's supposed to be guiding them, that's supposed to be leading them to guilt is silenced.
Silenced.
Exactly. So
Yep.
yeah, you need to have this healthy level of guilt. If you don't have this,
And here's the thing that's actually a really good point too. That healthy, that voice of guilt. I like that. That's a good analogy. It's because right, the louder that voice yells at you, the more willing you are to take action to follow what that voice is saying or go against saying. If it's screaming at you, don't do that. Right? Then, hey, you'll get to the point where you're like, all right, I feel very disturbed, right? And the state I'm in right now, I'm not going to do this anymore, right? If you don't have people, right, or if you notice you have people who don't challenge you at all whatsoever, you either get away from the people who aren't challenge you at all whatsoever, or encourage them to, right, and start challenging them as well, right? Or get if they're not challenging you, they don't care, right? Whether they know it or not, you gotta let them know sometimes because not everybody realizes it that they're enabling you to do all these wrong things, right? You don't need an enabler, right? Because you're enabling yourself already. You don't need more of them in your life.
this is true.
Yeah.
This is 100% true. And it's little things, man. It's little things like let's just say I had a person like us. We keep using this example, right? This goes within anything, right? Let's just say I see somebody that is overweight, right? I'm not going to buy you a fucking cake. You can buy that shit yourself, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna contribute to this negative identity, this negative way of being, this negative habit of yours. I'm not, as a person that cares about you, and like I said, I feel like more people need to do this, right? Regardless if they're interested in something. Let's just say it's their birthday, man. Let's just say they love this certain food, but this food is really, really trash food, right? Typically, people would say, I'm just gonna get it for him anyways. It's his birthday. Let him enjoy it, man. Let him enjoy it, right?
Mhm.
Or you could say, you know what? It's his birthday. I love and I care about this person. I'm not gonna contribute to your negative way of being. So therefore, I'm gonna get you something else. I'm gonna get you something healthier. I'm gonna get you an entirely different gift. I'm gonna get you a gym membership, right? I'm gonna get you something that's gonna be contributing to the identity that I and you should want to uphold,
Yeah.
right? That only makes sense to me. So it's little things like that. How you can unconsciously contribute to somebody's negative behavior, and more importantly, consciously contribute to somebody's positive behavior.
This is facts. This is facts. And this is the difference between what a good person does and what a nice person does, right? A nice person will tell you, right, you're doing right, you're doing great, right? But a nice person, right, typically are bad people, unfortunately. I hate to say it, right? If that they sound with their words sound nice, right? Their actions do not, what's it called, reflect what their words are, right?
Okay.
A good person, right? A good person, more than likely, they're not always a nice people, right? It's takes enough time to be a good person. It's too exhausting to be good and nice at the same time. I know a few people who are both good and nice. Bless their souls, they are saints, but it's not for all of us, honestly, right? A good person, right, most of the time we're not nice people, right? And that's perfectly fine because we know that our actions are good, right? Our actions follow what you should be doing, right? As opposed to a nice person who is a bad person, right? Do it really think about it like this, right? A good person, right? That's an asshole. A good person, but an asshole, right? They have good intentions, but you don't like what they say. That's perfectly fine. As opposed to a nice person who's actually a scumbag. Would you rather be an asshole or a scumbag? I told this one to him before, right? And realistically, I'm telling you right now, I'd rather be an asshole because I'm be honest. I'll keep it 100 with you, right? You might not like what I hear, but you might not like what I say, right? You might not like what you hear from me, but if you follow through with what I'm saying, right? If you take this criticism, right, in a positive manner, right, you will like the results you receive from it, as opposed to a nice person, right, who really doesn't give a fuck about you, will say, "Hey, man, what you're doing is perfectly fine. Keep going, right? Keep grinding. Do whatever you got to do, right?" That person, they see the results a few months later. They're like, "Hey, man, keep going, keep doing what you're doing, right?" After no progress at all whatsoever, like, "Man, you'll get there someday. Do whatever you got to do." That person doesn't give a shit about you. That's a nice person, but that's a bad person though.
For sure. Yeah, I want to kind of get on that point as well, right? These nice people, they appear to be literally everywhere, right? Um,
Everywhere.
most people can maintain this facade for a really really long period of time. The passing by, oh, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing. It's really just it's all superficial. And being a nice person can be this act that you put on, and it is an act that I would say most people probably put on for sure. But then you get to the real in depth, like Anthony was talking about. They really don't give a shit at the end of the day. And like Anthony had mentioned, right? These good and nice people are very, very rare. And Anthony mentioned, right? We don't know a lot of good and nice people, right? I know a few good and nice people for sure. Very, very, very few. And like Anthony had mentioned, those people are saints, brother,
For
because
damn
quite
sure.
frankly, they're about as scarce as good. Yeah, they're about as scarce as it comes, man.
Yeah, they're a different breed for
Different
sure.
breed, right? Different breed. Um, but yeah, I want to kind of harp on that point, right? Nice people are everywhere. Good people, I'm not gonna say they're hard to find, but they're definitely harder to find for sure, right? And like I said, you have to understand what defines a good person and what defines a nice person, right? For me personally, Anthony kind of gave his definition, right?
Hmm.
But a good person to me is somebody who has good intent and who has good character. And those aren't always the same thing, right? They have good character and good intent, right? A nice person is somebody who's just trying to smooth things over, who's trying to just not ruffle no feathers, who's trying to maintain a very very even and positive environment, right?
Yeah, I got one. It's actually I got another analogy, right? It's one more, right? As a difference between a good person and a nice person, right? In a sink or swim situation, right? A nice person, right? They'll see you sinking, they'll tell you to swim as well while they swim away, right? They're gonna swim away. They're perfectly fine. Your ass is gonna drown, right? As opposed to a good person, right? A good person, if it's sink or swim, right? They see you sinking, they're either gonna come over, help you learn, teach you how to swim, right? Or y'all drowning together because he's gonna pull your ass with him as he's swimming away, right? That's what a good person does, right?
Mm,
But here's the thing. But when that boat was up afloat, right? You didn't like what that good person had to say, right? When he was trying to teach your ass to swim in the first place, because they knew that fucking ship could drown, that could sink, right? But you didn't want to listen to him. He's still right there by you, by your side, right? Ready to teach you how to swim or drown with you, right? As opposed to that sink or swim person that was nice, and their asses, well, what are they doing? Oh, they swimming away. They're swimming away. They don't show up in those times of need, right? Realistically, They'll say, "Good luck," and they're out, right? As opposed to a good person, they're like, "No, it's not good luck. You do it. It's a bad fucking luck. You did terrible fucking job. Let me show you how to do it the right way. Do it this way. Here you go."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. 100% what it is. And I want to kind of get into this different element. It's going to be, I'm going to use the same example we've been using this entire time just because it's easy to pull from.
Yeah.
But let me tell you why I see a lot of people in society that are nice people that are very, very deceptive, right? This is a good one right here, right? Let's just say they're these nice people that the society has created, right? They're like, oh yeah, I love your curves, right? This person's overweight. Everybody doesn't want to be them, right? Nobody wants to be this person that's overweight. They'll say, oh, love your curves, and then somebody will say, oh, you look just like that person. They're like, oh, they'll take offense to it
Yeah.
because they don't want to look like that person. But you just said that person's beautiful. You just said that person. You just told him to love his curves. So when I say you look exactly like that person, why do you take offense?
That's a really good fucking point. All right.
Because being nice is a facade. Being nice is deceptive, right? They'll tell you to love your curves when in reality a good person is gonna say, you know what, man, you could look better.
Yeah.
You could look better. Let's make you look better. Let's make you look better. Let me give you some tips on dieting. Let me give you some tips on working out, right? That's what a good person will do. But a nice person will say, love your curves, man. You're doing everything just fine. Stay positive, all this bullshit, right? It's just superficial, nice, typical nice people shit. That's really doesn't do anything for you or for your life.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Those people piss me off so much. It's like, because here's the thing: you could say love your curves, but if you ask them, would you love your curves if you look like the way they do?
Hmm.
Would you love? Would you love? Could you love yourself looking the way you say to tell this person to love their self? Could you love yourself the way you're telling them to love their self?
Probably not.
Probably not. I guarantee you. Most of the time, hell no. No, you cannot. No,
Facts.
you will not. You would never. Yeah. Just basically, yeah. It's love yourself, but I could never love you though. Type of situation.
This is facts. This is facts. But yeah, like I said, that was just a quick example. But yeah, it's just one of those things, man, where the question you must ask yourself is who do you want to be like? Of course, you want to. I'm not gonna say everybody wants to strive to be a good and nice person because quite frankly, that's not the case, right?
Yeah.
I would much rather be when it comes down to it. I'd rather say, you know what, Champ was a very very good person. He didn't always say exactly what I wanted to hear, but I knew he loved me. I knew he had good intent, and yeah, usually he was right. Right? I'd rather much live that life and go down like that as opposed to saying, you know what, Champ was really really nice, but you know what, man, he could have helped me out a little bit more. He was in good shape, but he kept telling me just to love myself for who I am, and I don't need to change, and I could just stay exactly the way that I am right now. But I really could have been better. I really could have been better, and he could have helped me out because he knew exactly what he was doing. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would much rather be a good person, and be remembered for being a good person, even if it's an asshole, than to be a nice person and be remembered as, oh yeah, he could have done more. This guy's a fucking scumbag.
Yeah. No, for damn sure. For damn sure. That's why when they say me like, man, Anthony, man, that guy was an asshole. Loved him to death though. He knew what he was doing, right? And he pushed others to to be good as well. So if that's what they say when I'm all done, hey man, I'm perfectly fine with that, right? If you can be a nice and good person, man, your life is more exhausting than most of ours. I will tell you that. If you can do both, I applaud you because you are a rare breed indeed. I know a few of them, but they are few and far between. So
And usually, okay, I'm gonna say this right. There's very, very few people that are like that, right? I would say more often than not, it's usually the women that are like that. Very, very few men that are good and nice people, for damn sure, right?
I know one. I know one.
What you good?
Actually, maybe two.
Guy,
Huh? Huh?
guy or girl?
Guy. Two of them. Actually, two of them.
Okay, who?
Will for one.
Okay,
Will, you got to put Will on that list.
okay, sure.
And my boy Gage that just he just
Okay,
moved home. Yeah.
okay, fair
Yeah,
enough. Fair enough.
them
Shout,
two.
shout out to Will, shout out to Gage. Come on
Yeah.
now.
Those two, but yeah, that's probably about it, man.
But yeah, like I said, for the most part, I see women kind of having upholding both of those or doing it very very well, right? My girlfriend's one of those people. I would say she's a good person,
Yeah.
and a nice person. But like I said, just little things like this is just like if you're a nice person, you're not gonna always say the truth. You're just not gonna always say the truth. There's always going to be more that you can say, and this is what I push her to do. Right, I have to be the side for her to say, you know what? I know you don't agree with that, or I know you don't want to go along with that. But a nice person will simply just go along with it instead of saying, you know what? Hey, what you're doing is wrong, or hey, what you have to say is there could be a better way of doing this. A nice person is just gonna say, you know what? I'm just gonna go with the flow, right? For me personally, I can never do that shit. If I see a better way of doing something, or somebody says something, but I have my own input, I'm gonna give my own input. I'm not gonna just be nice and say, you know what, I'm just gonna see how it plays out, right? I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna be nice. I can't do that shit. That's like Anthony mentioned. That's too exhausting. I don't have the energy
Yeah.
for that shit.
I tried a few times, man, but it never works out that way. I tried to be like, you know what? Let me relax. I try to do it sometimes, but it always shows. And when always shows, if it shows on my face, then eventually it's gonna show in my words. You're gonna hear it eventually, right? If it keeps going down that path, first I'll be like, I don't like it, right? Then if it keeps going, I'm like, I gotta say something, and I don't like to have to, but man, that's what you don't understand, right? Is that these good people, right? Just because they will tell you the harsh truth, it doesn't mean they want to tell you the harsh truth, right? It means they do it because they believe you have to hear this truth, right? It's not that they're just saying this just to tear you down. They're not just saying this to be like, man, just to talk shit to you. No, they're saying this because these are things you need to hear, right? And that's why every damn day when I hear Champ do this shit to me, goddamn, and I'm like, fuck. I gotta do this shit. I gotta do this shit. Yep.
Yep, you already know what time it is,
Yep.
man. You already know what time it is.
Yep.
But yeah, like I said, that's just the way it is, man. That's just the way it is. If you got, like I said, if you have any comments or questions, or if there's anything that we said that you had liked, definitely let us know for sure. We're gonna go ahead and end it off here in a few minutes. So, like I said, leave a comment for sure. Let me see if there's anything else I had to say.
The ones you really gotta look out for are the bad mean people. Those ones are fucked up. Those ones are actually classified though under a very popular topic, right? Top headline, and it's spreading and it's getting worse. Those are toxic people, right? And man, they're everywhere. And here's the crazy thing is,
Spread like wildfire.
spread like wildfire. But not only that, right? They're being pushed more out into society, right? Like this narrative. Don't get me wrong, right? Sometimes you see some toxic shit right online, and you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that one's kind of funny, right? Like that you hear some headlines, but you got to think, right? These people are doing these things, right? They're not just posting about these toxic things. Like they are actually partaking in these activities that they're talking about, and these people. Like what you may sometimes you might think, oh, that's cool. No, these people are genuinely evil. Like these people are the scum of the earth. But not only that, though. But not only that, they're proud of it.
Yeah.
That's the scary part. They're proud to be pieces of shit, but they don't call themselves pieces of shit. They call themselves toxic. And man, they really are. These are the worst people. Do not if you
Ruthless.
exactly. If you see someone who claims to be actually
Soulless.
soulless fucking people, like these are. If you are genuinely a toxic person, get some help. Get some fucking help from someone outside of your circle, because they clearly know you're toxic, right? And either they're toxic too, right? Or they're fine with you being toxic. So you need some fucking help.
That's
Some
for damn sure.
serious fucking help.
Let me see, KJ says something. Shout to KJ for popping in the pod, man. Criticism makes a person greater than the person who doesn't get criticized for their actions and can't take criticism. 100% KJ, 100%. He knows everything about this, man.
Yes, sir.
KJ is one of those people that he's willing to accept criticism because he knows that it'll make him better. And more importantly, he's the type of person to criticize himself because he wants to get better himself, and he's not satisfied. And just that's exactly how he should be. Not satisfied and wanting to strive for more. That is the quality of a go-getter. That is the quality of a type person. That is the quality of people that you want to surround yourself with for damn sure.
Yep. Shout out KJ. He takes criticism better than most people do, and you see the improvement with him every time. Every time I see him, he's always improving. Every single time.
This is facts, man. This is facts. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I have to say for today's episode.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have any finishing points to end it off with. But Yeah, like I said, criticize. Be more open to criticism, right? Of course, obviously see where it's coming from. If it's coming from below, that motherfucker's an asshole, right? If
Yeah.
it's coming from somebody that truly cares about and loves you,
Yeah.
it's worth listening to. It's worth listening to if it does apply for sure.
Yeah. Also, one thing we didn't get fully into, right, is that evaluate what criticism is worth receiving and what criticism is not worth receiving, right? Because there is a difference. Some people really are just talking shit, right? As opposed to some people who do care the most, right? If it's someone you don't talk too much, right, and they're saying you're doing this A, B, and C and wrong, right, and they don't know nothing about your life, more than likely, yeah, that's just someone talking shit. You don't need to hear what they're saying, right?
Facts.
But if it's someone you know personally, someone you know close to your heart, you see them all the time, or at least on an occasional basis, and they're telling you, hey, you need to fix A, B, and C, more than likely, there's someone who's seen your life. They know how you're living, right? You should probably, look into fixing A, B, and C. So
Facts. Big
yeah.
facts. Big facts. Yes, Heem, you're late, brother. Damn, better late than never, I guess. Sir. I guess. It's all good, man. Maybe
all
next
good.
time. Maybe next time, brother. But yeah, man. Like I said, be open to more criticism, and like I had mentioned, right? If you truly give a fuck about this person, feel free to criticize them. Get the best out of them. That is how you're gonna get the best out of people. Give more criticism and receive more criticism, right? Be open to receive more criticism.
Yep.
Give it out a little bit more, maybe even a little bit more than people are willing to hear. But at the end of the day, at least they know that you will have the best intent in mind, especially if they know that you care for damn sure.
He said, I gotta put this.
That's crazy.
Watch.
Hey man, hey, that's what you got to do,
That's what
bro.
you
That's
gotta
what you got to
do.
do,
Yep.
man. But yeah, like I said, give it out more. Um,
Also,
especially on people's bad behaviors. Like I said, giving criticism is one thing, right? Giving criticism when it's necessary. When you know for damn sure that this person wants a certain thing or is pursuing a certain goal, you must criticize their decisions that are contributing to that negative identity that they're upholding. And obviously, like I said, right, with that, make sure you go ahead and also give the encouragement when it's necessary when they're doing the right thing.
yeah. Also, know who is worthy of your criticism too, right? Honestly, giving it out to just everybody, most of the time, people won't listen, right? Hold your criticism to the people who you actually value, right? A lot of people, especially a lot of people out in the world, you realize they're like we just said, already mentioned, a lot of people aren't happy about getting criticized, right? Hell, I'm not happy about getting criticized, right? No one really likes getting criticized, but I know who's worthy of criticizing me, right, and who's not, right? So with obviously, pick your poison, pick your battles
And
with telling people what they do and don't need to do.
yeah, and then another aspect to this, right? Look at the person that the criticism is coming from, right? And I'm not just saying like their best intent in mind, right? If this person is the person that you want to be or strive to be like, right? Then, like I said, be more accepting of this, right? If this person's out here criticizing the way that you look and they're also fat, you better just block that shit off because that ain't even worth listening to, brother. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So, like I said, only take criticism from people that you want to be like or strive to be like, right? It's simple as that.
Yeah, more than likely, you're not going to get $1 million worth of advice from a homeless person. So,
Gotta let natural selection stay undefeated sometimes. Tough. Hey.
hey, man, I'm
Hey,
not
that's
gonna
when you
lie.
don't care though. That's when you don't care.
Exactly.
And then yeah, like you had mentioned.
Hey, man, I'm not sure if you've been on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all of them recently. Man, natural selection been slacking, man. It really has. If natural selection hasn't been slacking, man, we wouldn't have to do this.
Facts. Big facts. We wouldn't have to say nothing. It would just be chilling. It would just be another thing, man.
Exactly.
It wouldn't be even a topic, man. It would just be life, man.
Yeah, for real.
But that's pretty much all I have to say for today's episode. Is there anything else you want to wrap it up with, Anthony?
Nah, man, I think we hit about all the points. Did pretty good.
All right, we'll go ahead and end it off. Is there any game you have for the people outside of the topic for today? Any game that you can come up with on top of the dome?
Off the dome. I wish I would have thought about this before we started. I didn't have a closing statement.
It's all good. It's all good.
Wait, do you have one? Do you have one? If you have one before, I'll go after you.
No, I ain't got one today.
You ain't got one either?
I ain't got one today. I already said enough,
Alright.
fellas.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, we could just leave them off with the motto then.
All right, hold on. Wait.
No?
Make sure you go to tap in with my YouTube shorts as well as my YouTube clips. I'm posting more frequently. So, like I said, if you can't catch the podcast or for whatever reason never catch it live, tap in with those for sure. I've been spinning some games, so tap in with that for sure. But yeah, I'll leave you guys off with the podcast motto. Fellas out here, man, we don't just work around here, man.
We outwork.
So make sure y'all work these motherfuckers because you know that we are, and you know we steady doing that every day, man.
Yes, sir.
So tap in with that. Next podcast is going to be on Thursday. Tap in with that for sure. Like I said, more live streams coming up this week, so tap in with that for sure. If there's a video that you want me to go ahead and react to, let me know, and then I'll go ahead and I'll leave a reaction for sure. And yeah, just like that, man. Appreciate everyone for stopping by. Tap in with the next podcast on Thursday, man. Y'all have